We already mentioned markers when talking about referencing arrangement from our own songs, somebody else's songs, and we can use those markers to place them on the timeline so that they tell us when is the time for something. Now, there is another usage for them. Of course, we can do this, add a locator and say intro and so forth. But let's say I had a locator here. That's a drop 1. Now, if I wanted to play something, let's say from here, so those markers can actually be served as, like a play that would trigger that, position to play from wherever we are in the song, so that we could maybe hear what a certain part is going to sound after a certain part of a song. So in order to play this drop right after this part of music, so skipping this whole thing would be useful without me actually having to, cut time. So do this, make the markers right there, and then cut time. Control-Shift-X. And now that part is gone, so that I can actually play, right after that part, this part starts. I'm going to Control-Z. I'm going to undo that. Yeah. Now, what we can do is play whatever we want. You see, Ableton is going to wait for exactly next bar to trigger playing this sequence from here. So this way we can actually skip from, let's say, any part of, our song to an exact point right here, and it's all going to be rhythmical. It's all going to start exactly at the point of one bar, so it's going to be a seamless transition, just as if the song didn't have this part in there. That also lets us experiment of how we could change the arrangement before we do any, timeline changes like this, deleting whole parts of songs, moving things around left and right, back and forth. Although it's also easy to do by cutting time, or maybe taking this complete part, copying, and then pasting that part somewhere else, say like right here, and that's it, and then deleting that part, so we save it. But also an easier part to experiment, an easier way to experiment would be just like this, playing it here and seeing what it's gonna sound like if we actually skip that whole part of the song. So markers can be a good thing to actually, help us with the arrangement, mark things in the arrangement for us, so we don't lose our sense of timing when something is supposed to start and stop. But we can also use them in a creative way like this to experiment with the progress of our arrangement, to see if any part of the song is going to be good after another part of the song, without actually, rearranging everything before we know we actually like something as a progression. Of course, those markers can always be moved, so I can move that marker right here and try the same thing, after playing this, to play that part. So let's try that. Like that, and see what that sounds like. So that part of experimentation with the arrangement, if I had, let's say, an idea just like this, where I have only the parts I want to be in the song, so a drop, so I already developed an idea, but I don't have an arrangement yet. This is not an arrangement. This is not necessarily how the song is going to start, how it's going to progress, what's going to play next. I just have all the parts I have, composed so far, and I need to now arrange them to create a composition, to create a song. So that is also a good way where you can use markers to test what in the arrangement should come next, which part is going to, naturally sit best continuing after something we already had playing.